Hello all. A little windy out, so we'll do the video inside. What are we going to talk about today? Well, it's kind of an interesting subject. Geothermal energy. Getting our electricity and heat from the earth itself. A renewable, continuous energy that never gives out for billions of years. So, what is it all about? What would geothermal be good for? Well, it'd be good for heat, because it's hard to generate heat out of electricity. You need so much of it. But the earth has so much heat. It's such an incredibly high temperature. It could be used in manufacturing, heating buildings, and generating electricity. Let's go over to the board and get some more details. Okay, this represents the planet Earth. So, geothermal energy is an interesting concept, but we have to go through some basics first. The Earth's crust is only about 18 miles or 30 kilometers thick. The bottom of the crust, which lays on top of the mantle, which is very hot, brings the heat into the crust quite a ways up and then dissipates as it goes up. But about halfway through the crust, it gets really hot. And also, the crust can be different thicknesses. Oceanic crust is very thin, but the rock is very dense. Continental crust is very thick. The rock isn't as dense. So what happens is you drill all the way through the crust into the mantle, which is still thick. It's not liquid yet. It doesn't get liquid till quite a few miles down, and then it becomes liquid. So you can drill quite a ways down, getting into the 1,000-degree heat. Then what you do is you pump water down into this section, which is porous rock, meaning that liquid can get through the rock either way. And then this pipe here takes up all the steam and brings it up to the surface, where it runs turbines and makes electricity. Now in Iceland, they bring pipes from the geothermal all over the country and heat up all their buildings with the heat of the earth. Now, there's some problems with that, and this is what it is that the way of thinking right now is that you drill down and you frack all this rock. You frack it, split it up, explosions inside just like oil, and then you pump the water down. The problem with this method is that the water goes this way as well as this way, and so it ends up pumping a bunch of water in there, making a lot of pressure and causing earthquakes up here. They've had a geothermal earthquake in Europe of a 5.6, very damaging, years ago. So this way of thinking about things isn't going to work. It just, this thing about where we have to go and frack everything. We could do something completely different. We could put a giant reservoir down here with water, with a pipe going over to this section here, which is where the steam would go up and cause electricity. Now, building something so far down, as far as 18 miles, would have to be done with very specific remote vehicles. But if you could get a chamber down here and fill it with water, it would instantly start boiling, and then the water would go down the pipe and up and generate electricity. And you could also use the steam a second time to heat up buildings and use for industry. The only problem with geothermal is that humans always try and do everything the easiest way, by fracking instead of remote digging and removing the soil and filling the hole with water. The way you would do it if it was on the surface of the planet. That's what you do. You have a water reservoir which turns to steam and generates electricity. It's just what heats the water, whether it be nuclear or electric or fossil fuel. In this case, it could be the earth itself could continuously generate electricity and heat for us for as long as humans are on the planet. But unfortunately, it would cost a lot of money to put in geothermal. But once it's in, it would work forever. What countries are doing geothermal? Well, there's 20 different countries doing geothermal. The U.S., of course, would be number one. They generate more power than all the 19 countries combined do. Iceland is almost at the end of geothermal. They don't generate that much electricity, but then again, they don't have that big of a population that needs that much electricity. Population control, of course, has to be one of the main ways of making geothermal work, because if you're just too populated, it won't work. So what's your thoughts on this way of doing power generation and a heat source? You could even get enough heat up there to melt your metals, so you wouldn't need fossil fuel to heat up your metals. But it would take quite a bit of work to get all this infrastructure in place. How about it, Biden? I definitely do appreciate all the ups, the downs, the comments, the new subscribers, and anything else you want to do with the channel. And until next time.
I used to